fantasy, energy. You don't need a bulldozer to become a composer. Every little part or a talk may help to construct a melody. Aye, aye, aye. Music fills the world with happiness, plenty, sweetness, and togetherness. Music has no friends or enemies. Everybody, put dingole, 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 dingole. If your clothes tear up or your shoe bust up, you could still jump up when music play. Old lady, young baby, everybody, put dingole, 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 dingole. Ay, 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 ay. Amba, ya, 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 amba, ya, boy, ya,
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I believe we are about to begin, so feel free to settle in, get your seats, and we will start shortly.
They say no more could we see happy times again. But the will to recover in my people like have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talk it nonsense, but the majority of we decide we're not going to run, because now is the time to show we patriotism. For we country facing is that is power. So our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make...
Shall we all bow our heads in reverence? In the name of God, whose Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Almighty God, you are indeed the source of life, and every good gift comes from you. And so, Lord, today we come before you with hearts full of gratitude as we celebrate, oh God, this exhibition, Behind the Crown, and the launch of this book, oh God, that delves into the rich history of our people, especially the lives, oh God, of our Carnival queens from 1945 to 1974. God, we thank you for the creativity, the wisdom, and all that you've endowed, O God, the author, our dear brother and your beloved son, Richardo, the curator of this museum, and all organizers and sponsors. We're truly grateful, O God, for all the resources they've poured into this event so that we can celebrate the richness of our culture and our heritage. Lord, we acknowledge that culture is a gift from you, reflecting the diversity and beauty of your creation. May this exhibition and book launch, O God, serve as a bridge between generations, teaching us to cherish our past, celebrate our present, and inspire our future. Let it remind us, O God, of the values we have as a Grenadian people, of resilience and faith and strength and courage, and may we treasure this for generations to come. We ask, O God, your blessings upon this book, Lost History of a Time, Grenada's Queens, the author, O God, and everyone who has contributed to it. May it reach the hearts and minds of all those who would read. May it inspire us, O God, and may it honor our heritage. Guide, O God, the proceedings today and all those who would come before us, O God. Inspire us all. And we pray, God, that your presence will be felt in this gathering. Lord, we just bless your name and we offer all this and all mercies to you, giving thanks, O God, for the creativity of our people, and especially, O God, the author and all those who are behind this book launch. We give you thanks in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Please remain standing for the national anthem. So we're about to test my voice. Please join me immediately, okay? Hail, Grenada, land of us, we pledge ourselves to thee. Heads, hearts, and hands in unity to reach our destiny. Ever conscious of God, being proud of our heritage, may we with faith and courage aspire, build, advance, as one people, one family. God bless our nation. Thank you. You may have your seats. I heard some harmony in there as well, so we did a fantastic job. Her Excellency Dame Cecile La Grenade, Governor General of Grenada. Senator the Honorable Adrian Thomas, Minister for Tourism, the Creative Economy, and Culture. Senator the Honorable Claudette Joseph, Minister for Legal Affairs, Labor, and Consumer Affairs. Honorable Peter David, Member of Parliament for the Town of St. George. Her Excellency Ambassador Yvette Martinez Leyva, Ambassador from Cuba. Ambassador Terence Forrester. Dr. Oliver Benoit, Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Grenada National Museum, and other directors of the Grenada National Museum. Former Carnival Queens and participants. The reigning National Carnival Queen 2024, Sachel Alves. Sponsors of this book we'll be talking about this evening. Specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, and those joining us live at this exclusive event, good evening. Welcome to Lost History of a Time, Carnival Queens 1945 to 1974. This is the official book launch, and we will also be unveiling the exhibition, and the exhibition is titled Behind the Queen, Behind the Crown. This is a fantastic event. I also want to welcome you officially to the Grenada National Museum. Of course, the museum is in the business of documenting history and our cultural heritage, and this is exactly what we're celebrating here today with Lost History of a Time, while also celebrating a gentleman who is the man of the hour, Richardo Keynes Douglas, MBE, and of course, he is an internationally award-winning playwright, author of more than one book, and also director and producer. And having worked with him last year on 2 projects, Journey to Gold, I was an actor for the first time, as well as on Pan 50 and Food Fest, I can say that he is an excellent teacher and mentor and a man of class. So it's only right that he is the one documenting such an important part of Grenada's history. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I invite another cultural enthusiast. She is also the Marketing and Business Development Manager of the National Lotteries Authority. She will give us a little information of the importance of this book. Welcome, Reese Sam.
Thank you, Ms. Washington. Her Excellency, Dame Cecile Lagrenade, Governor General, Senator the Honorable Adrian Thomas, Minister for Tourism, Creative Economy and Culture, Senator the Honorable Claudette Joseph, Minister for Legal Affairs, Labor and Consumer Affairs, Honorable Peter David, MP for the Town of St. George, Her Excellency Ambassador Yvette Martinez Levia, Ambassador from Cuba, Ambassador Terence Forrester, Dr. Oliver Benoit, Chairman of the Board of Directors of Grenada National Museum, other members of the Grenada National Museum Board, former Carnival Queens and participants, the reigning National Carnival Queen 2024, Sasha Alves, sponsors, other specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, and there's a little girl, so boys and girls. Firstly, I would like to express my gratitude to Mr. Richardo Keynes Douglas and the board of the Grenada National Museum for inviting me to this historical occasion, the launch of the book, The Lost History of Time, Grenada Carnival Queens, 1945 to 1974. A book that is meant to impact generations and last lifetimes. My role here is threefold. First, to bask in yet another accomplishment of a fellow but unmatched cultural enthusiast, to speak on the importance of the book, and to represent as sponsor. I will begin with the latter and end with the first. When Mr. Keynes Douglas showed up at my office at the National Lotteries Authority in November 2022, we're in 2025, with the manuscript of the book, The Lost History of Time, Grenada Carnival Queens, and I repeat, 1945 to 1974, I was immediately captivated by the idea, the content of the photos of the past, and Mr. Keynes Douglas' vibrating energy about the book. It was not just talk. He wanted a production in time for an exhibition in July 2023, and also he wanted it in time for the 50th anniversary celebrations in 2024, which was a big deal. But he needed sponsorship. Mr. Keynes Douglas didn't just talk, he walked too, because I found out that he was at our offices before I met him in November 2022, and was there several times after, up to 2024. The importance of this book gave me the encouragement to request more than was originally solicited from our company's coffers, which was a dream that did not come true, and I'm not knocking the company. But I stand here still very proud to see that the contribution of $5,000 towards the cause, we got that. We got that for the facts. The facts are that this book contains material that provides official information and evidence and serves as a record. And it involved the process of classifying and annotating text, photographs, etc., which fall under two of the Oxford Dictionary's definitions of the word documentation. Time after time, we dig for information on our past, and it is not there to be found. Oftentimes, we rely on older folks who still have their faculties to tell us, but the retelling gets watered down, and our imagination is left to what we envision based on what we hear, making connections with our present and not necessarily the past. So it is very important that we document our way of life and history before it becomes lost. Already, so much has been lost. I can attest that this book, The Lost History of Time, Grenada Carnival Queens, 1945 to 1974, is a product of love, passion, and a genuine response to the call for documentation of our history and cultural practices, although I am not sure if there was actually a call. But it makes it even more worthy of celebrating the man behind it all, the man of the moment, Richardo Douglas. He did it because he wanted to do it. Was it not for Mr. Douglas' documentation of the past queens, I would not have found out fairly recently that there was a national carnival queen who hailed from St. John. Even though the Queen show contestants at the time were not casted by parishes, and we would learn how they were casted. St. John's have been trying to win a crown under the parish casting method for eons. Maybe this year it might happen, but we will bask in knowing that there was one before. At this juncture, I would like to congratulate all the authors, well, this author, and all the other authors like Nicole Philip Dow, Fitzgerald Naka Joseph, just to name a couple, who have put pen to paper, burned the midnight oil, collected the elusive photos, and documented their knowledge, recollections, and experiences in the form of books so that their generation can have nostalgic moments, our generation can make the connection, and generations to come can have educational resources to draw from. And for all of us to be aware of the foundation so that we can be guided in the present, continue to chart the future, and preserve our culture with the wisdom of the likes of Richardo Douglas. And that is the importance of writing the book and other such non-fiction books. Mr. Douglas' name will be forever etched in the canals of history for his many productions, not just in books, but in the plays, storytelling, production management, and much, much more. This is your moment, sir. Congratulations, and thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sam, for that little bit of information about the book that we are talking about today. And in case you're wondering who I am, my name is Crystalline Lashington, and I'm your chair, your host for this evening's celebration. Thank you. I also would like to recognize the Chief Executive Officer of the Grenada Cultural Foundation, Mr. Livingston Nelson, in our presence, as well as Mr. Ali Gill, Chair of the I can't remember the full Reparations Committee. So thank you so much for joining us here as well. But you are all esteemed. Don't feel left out, all right? So we move on to another cultural enthusiast, so much so that she was the chair of the Jubilee celebrations last year in Grenada. She is a researcher as well as a professor of sociology. She cares deeply about community service, and she is also an author. Welcome to the podium, Dr. Wendy Crawford Daniel.
Good evening, all. Her Excellency, Dame Cecile Lagrenade, Governor General, Senator, the Honorable Adrian Minister of Tourism, Creative Economy and Culture, Senator, the Honorable Claudette Joseph, Minister of Legal Affairs, Labor and Consumer Affairs, Honorable Peter David, MP for the Tug of St. George, Her Excellency Ambassador Yvette Martinez, I got that right? Ambassador from Cuba, Ambassador Terence Forrester, Dr. Oliver Benoit, Chair of the Board of Directors, Grenada National Museum, other members of the Grenada National Museum Board, former Carnival queens and participants, the reigning National Carnival Queen of 2024, Sasha, sponsors, other specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I feel honored to be asked by Grenada's premier multi-talented creative genius, Richardo Keynes Douglas, to share with you some reflections of his latest publication, Lost History of a Time, Grenada Carnival Queens, 1945 to 1974. What a treat. What a gift. In fact, another gift to Grenada. Thank you, Richardo. You're the best. What Richardo has brilliantly done is to have recovered through this publication an inspiring but woefully ignored part of our social history. We have been doing this thing for 80 years. Richardo looked at the first 30 glorious years of our Queen of Carnival contestants. 30 years of magnificence, elegance, exhibiting the power of femininity, beauty, and the magic that lies at the heart of every Grenadian woman. You did it. This book has created the context for us to better understand how globally significant it was for us to have captured Miss World title in 1969, some 56 years ago. 1970? No, not 69. 70. Right? Sorry. I think that's 55 years ago, right? Long before many of us were born. Miss Harley? And she was the first Caribbean woman and the first black woman the world over to have done this. So abundant were our queens that in 1967, Jennifer Houston was a runner-up. And in 1969, Richardo's own sister was crowned Queen of Carnival. So we were indeed mass producers of queens. It's a natural resource we often ignore. Grenada could have easily won the title every year. Richardo's research has shown us the elaborate and rigorous training, time, resources, and creativity that went into nurturing Carnival Queen contestants. So it is not coincidental that 1945 is the year of our first Queen of Carnival pageant. 1945 saw the end of World War II. It was a turning point in world history with radical changes in the social, political, and economic structure of society. 1945 saw the establishment of the United Nations, the creation of the UN Charter for Human Rights. So the world was preoccupied in showing the best of humanity, coming out of such horrendous experiences. So between 1945 and 1974, major world events impacted us in ways we can see clearly through the lens of this publication. The evolution of our queens of Carnival, I prefer to call them beauty queens, they're so beautiful. Beauty queen contest is one such lens. During that period, we saw the decolonization of Africa, Asia, and later the Caribbean, the adult suffrage movement of the 1950s and the arrival of Gary, a stalwart for workers' rights and the promotion of the self-esteem and beauty of women. The independence movements of the 60s with Jamaica and Trinidad gaining independence and Grenada receiving statehood. And Dame Hilda Bino appointed the first governor of the Commonwealth, Grenada again. So the independence movement of the 60s with Jamaica and Trinidad gaining the independence and an eagerness to embrace an identity of our own. The Black Power movement of the 70s challenged the concept of beauty, promoting Black pride and the concept Black is beautiful. Showing for the first time in the history of Grenada's beauty pageant, 55 years ago, an Afrocentric queen, Meryl Otley, flung open the door for every single Grenadian woman, regardless of race, color, class, creed, religion. One can also see the work of the women's rights movement empowering women to boldly offer up themselves for public scrutiny, criticism, judgment, and sometimes embrace. What was extremely interesting for me, though, was the fact that our queens chose their kings. That may have been a uniquely Grenadian thing. I have to find out from Richardo if others did that. But I must say we have learned well from our queens and continue to do so. Now, ladies, don't let the guys know about this. That's our secret. We continue to choose our kings, even today. So through this publication, one can see over time how the color, class, creed, religion of the contestants diversified and came to resemble that of the majority of our women, and not only the small, morally educated, middle-class elite. As we salute the contribution of these amazingly gorgeous, dignified, noble, poised, intelligent, beautiful Grenadian women for helping us to better appreciate our worth, showing us the power of self-esteem, and reinforcing the fact that Grenadian women are indeed the best. Worthy of respect, adoration, and love, things we have earned in part through the daring acts of these amazing women. I want to conclude my reflection, though, on a very special note. We cannot speak of Queen, of Carnival, and beauty pageant without singling out St. Joseph's Convent. As a rabid high school girl, it's hard to admit, but it is absolutely true. St. Joseph Convent has historically created for Grenada all of our contestants, with very few exceptions. Our contestants received a training that started in the middle-class homes, continued through St. Joseph's Convent, and intensified with the rigor and details that went into the organization, the planning, and execution of these contests. SJC, as the oldest educational institution in Grenada, has nurtured and trained cohorts of classy women for adult life, marked by civic virtues, morally sound doctrinal instructions, laden with values of respect, good manners, grace, dignity, poise, excellent deportment, charm, charisma, you name it, flawless communication skills, and all things to emulate and be proud of. Even if I'm a high school girl, I could admit that. So let's hear it for SJC. Oh my God. So that was unapologetically acknowledged by a high school girl. Okay, Claudia and Diane and Peggy and Gloria. Well, it's all right. So as we examine Richardo's book and exhibition, you will see that much of our social history are contained within. As a researcher, I'm excited. I'm excited at the wealth of research possibilities this publication has ignited. My hope is that this serves to inspire young people to continue the research into the social history of our schools, our intercall, our communities, our fascinating people, and our beautiful country, Grenada. Thank you, Richardo, for this gem. Thank you. I'm going with you.
Thank you, Dr. Crawford. Wow, riveting. Thank you so much for giving us a snippet into the book. Now we are about to introduce the man of the hour, And I'm not introducing him. We have a separate person to introduce him. That's how important he is this evening. So I invite to the podium another cultural enthusiast. I think that's the theme today. And she is also an educator. She is a champion for youth as well as community engagement. And she's also newly appointed Chief Executive Officer of the Grenada National Museum. Welcome, Miss Tia Cummings.
Thank you for that lovely welcome. Her Excellency Dame Cecile Lagrenade, Governor General, Senator the Honorable Adrian Thomas, Minister for Tourism, Creative Economy and Culture, Senator the Honorable Claudette Joseph, Minister for Legal Affairs, Labor and Consumer Affairs, Honorable Peter David, MP for the Tongue of St. George, Her Excellency Ambassador Yvette Martinez, Ambassador from Cuba, Ambassador Terence Forrester, Dr. Oliver Benoit, Chairman of the Board of Directors, Grenada National Museum, other members of the Grenada National Museum Board, Mr. Richardo Kings Douglas, former Carnival Queens and participants, the reigning National Carnival Queen 2024, Sasha Alves, sponsors, other specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Richardo Kings Douglas is a multifaceted Grenadian-Canadian author, playwright, director, and producer whose extraordinary career spans several decades and discipline, leaving an indelible mark on the world of theater, literature, and cultural expression. Born on May 17, 1953 in Grenada. Yes! He is a legend. He is a legend. Yes. He is a legend. So that shows you the strength of years. Yes, it's power. Yes? Yes, it's power. And we applaud you for that. It's very inspiring. No, we're proud of our age here. Richardo's journey into the arts began at a young age and led him to Canada at 17 to study at Dawson's College. His talent quickly earned him national recognition into the global spotlight. Richardo's musical play, The Nutmeg Princess, based on his book, and one of my favorites, won him the prestigious Dora Monroe Award for Outstanding New Musical in 1999, one of Canadians' highest theatre's honors. The production, which had its Grenadian premiere in December 1999 and became a hit at Carifesta in 2000 in St. Kitts, solidifying his place in the Caribbean and Canadian theatre scenes. In 2007, his childhood book, Freedom Child of the Sea, was chosen as the official book for the bicentennial year of the abolition of slavery in Canada. That year, he won the esteemed Golden Oak Award for Tales from the Isle of Spice, a work that was translated into Italian and used in educational systems across Canada, Australia, and the Commune Institute. With over a dozen children's books in 6 languages, Richardo holds the title of the only Caribbean children's author with such an expansive literacy legacy. In addition to his literacy and theatrical achievements, Richardo has enjoyed a diverse career as a storyteller, television host, and motivational speaker. From 1991 to 1994, he became the first Black host of a network-wide show on the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation with the acclaimed radio talk show Cloud9. His talent also extended to television, where he hosted Sunday Arts Entertainment on CBC TV, earning a Gemini Award nomination in 1996. Richardo's versatility shines through his work as an actor, director, and choreographer. He has graced stages across Canada, including the prestigious Stratford Shakespearean Festival, worked with Academy Award-winning actors like Maggie Smith, and performed at the world-famous Apollo Theatre in New York. His notable roles include leading parts in The Playboy of the West Indies, The Obeah Man, 12th Night, and Guys and Dolls. As a director and producer, he has worked on high-profile projects such as the National Carnival Queen Pageant in Grenada and the International Maroon Festival in 2004, as well as producing sold-out hits like I, Ivan, a musical about Hurricane Ivan that toured the US, Canada, and the UK. He was also the creative director behind our Golden Jubilee 50th Independence celebrations. Richardo showcased his enduring ability to lead and inspire through creative expression. Beyond theater, Richardo has made a lasting impact on the Caribbean's cultural landscape. He made history as the first host of the Caribbean version of the iconic show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and has revitalized traditional Grenadian masquerades, introducing the Moko Jumbi character during Carnival with great success. His contributions to the art and literature has earned him numerous accolades, including an MBE in 2007 and recognition as a cultural ambassador by the government of Grenada. Beyond theater, Richardo has made a lasting impact on the Caribbean's cultural landscape. Just coming out of Grenada's Golden Jubilee 50th Independence celebration as its creative director, he continues to redefine creative expression and cultural celebration. Today, we celebrate Richardo Kings Douglas' latest triumph, Lost History of a Time, Grenada Carnival Queens, 1945 to 1974, and the exhibition Richardo Kings Douglas Behind the Crown. These works honor the legend of Grenada's Carnival, these works honor the legacy of Grenada's Carnival Queens and further cement Richardo's place as a cultural icon, whose commitment to storytelling continue to illuminate the rich cultural heritage of Grenada and the Caribbean. Happy and please join me in welcoming this cultural icon, Richardo Kings Douglas, proud son of the soil.
Good evening. Wow, full house, nice. I'm more nervous about the protocol. Her Excellency Dame Cécile Lagrenade, Governor General, Senator the Honorable Adrian Thomas, Minister for Tourism, Senator the Honorable Claudia Joseph, Minister for Legal Affairs, Honorable Peter David, MP for the town of St. George, Her Excellency Ambassador Yvette Martinez, Ambassador Terence Forrester, Dr. Oliver Benoit, Chairman of the Board of Directors for the Grenada National Museum, other members of the Grenada National Museum Board, former Carnival Queens and participants, the reigning National Carnival Queen, sponsors, others specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is a really special, special moment for me. Welcome to Lost History of a Time, Grenada Carnival Queens, 1945 to 1974, and the photo exhibit, which you will see later on. This is a project that has been very dear to my heart because of the nostalgia it brings to me. Also because it deals with Carnival and the arts, and me being a big part of that time growing up, and wanting to preserve that part of Carnival history for the generations to come. But before I say another word, I give praise and thanks to the Almighty Papa God for his blessings and gifts he has given me in all my projects. I do nothing without God. And this one, his hands were at work, bringing the right people together. A team that's incredible at the Grenada National Museum, which we'll talk about. I could not have done it without them. So that's how Papa God works. He puts the right people, you got the good energy around your project if you believe in him. Now, I've been working on this project since 2018. When I started, I wasn't wearing glasses, okay? 6 years it took me in search of the Carnival Queens between 1945 to independence 1974. Now, I did not want to make it just a simple photo exhibit with pictures, names, and dates. I wanted it to be an experience, that a trip down memory lane, a trip down the Carnival memory lane that must be documented. So it started off by just wanting to document the women who won the title. But the more I started to write and do research about that era, I felt I should also honor all the women who went to the pageant, just not the winners, because it is not an easy feat going up on that stage in front, especially a Grenadian audience. It is not easy. So I felt like a detective trying to track down people, photos, anecdotes of the time of the Carnival Queens. It had been daunting at times unearthing these photos, all these gems, especially from the early years of the 40s and 50s, where photos were hardly taken, and many of the participants from that time had passed away, God rest their souls. Also, many people lost their photo albums during Hurricanes Janet in 1955 and Ivan in 2004, including all the professional photographers of the time. So many historical photos could never be salvaged. So a great part of our Carnival history and all the memorabilia were lost forever. So I started by tracking down folks, relatives, calling up people all over, go down in your basement, open the old boxes under your bed, look in the cupboard. So everybody really started doing that for me. So I put it out on Facebook and wherever and people just started sending me stuff, right? Sometimes I come home and there'll be a picture under my door. Don't know who dropped it there. No name, nothing, but praise God, it got there. So of course it became more impossible because finding pictures of the 1945 and 46 and 47, it was just nearly impossible, but it started happening. So I chose that time period to explore because it was a totally different time than today. Those were the colonial days, the days of the Queen of England, administrators, premiers, governors, town mayors, when there were only 2 or 3 cars on the street, when Carnival was in the middle of town, when people said, you have good hair. And if you massage your nose for 5 minutes every night, it would take a little bit of the flatness out. Those are the days, when ironing your hair was the crowning glory of beauty. So the times and society were very different. The way people thought and operated would seem like another world to the new generation today. But I felt that if we never documented even a little bit of what it was like then, it would be our fault. The ones who knew a little history of that time and never preserved and shared it for the future generation. I believe it is very important to know your history and don't think your history started when you were born. There are 2 reasons why I did this book. One, like I said earlier, I have some water, please excuse me. When I started earlier of the preservation of the era. And secondly, as a little boy growing up in the 60s, all of this was around me. All what you experience, all of this I literally lived it. Literally lived it. My father, Templeman Keynes Douglas, was a chairman of Carnival for many, many years. Carnival ran by the GCE, the Grenada Carnival Committee, then the JCs took it over, then the Lions Club took it over, and my father was a member of the Lion. So as a little boy, I was in the middle of everything. My dad would take me with him to the Queen's Park when he was preparing for the Carnival. Now, the Queen's Park was where the major shows took place. And as it got closer to Carnival and preparation started to take shape, it was quite a thrilling experience for a young boy to be there with his father in the middle of all this creativity. Doing final touches to the building of the stage, putting up lights, stage decorations, all that excitement was happening around me while I was playing with the other children who were also there with their fathers. One show that always had rehearsals on the big stage was the Carnival Queen Show. Always had a rehearsal the night before. And I always remembered watching the rehearsals of the hopeful contestants, because that sense of spectacle and creativity on the stage always fascinated me as a young boy. I would be running around playing with the other kids, but I would always stop and get lost in all the glamour and excitement of the people like Ina Julian and others who were working with the contestants on the stage, teaching them how to walk and turn and smile and chat with the MC. I also used to be a page boy, yes. I was 7, 8, 9, little boy, myself, Champy Evans, Richie Sherman. And as far as we were concerned, you see how involved I was? I was a little boy, I was on the stage opening the doors for the Carnival Queens. And we sat there because we thought we were the most important people at Queen Show, right? I remember once for the opening of the national anthem was played, and 2 boys came up on horses, which were bugles, of course. The horses were pulled by the owners, right? These magnificent horses. We rode onto the stage with bugles in our hand, and this incredible sound came out from us, these 2 young page boys. Of course, it was a trumpeter from the police band blowing it, But the magic, the spectacle and glamour and class of the event was always front and center. Thinking back to those days, the Carnival Queens were celebrities. Young girls wanted to be a Carnival Queen. It was a big thing to be one. People used to point and say, she's going to for Carnival Queen, And after the Carnival Queen, they would point and say, she went to for Carnival Queen, So there were celebrities. You had to get permission from your parents or your guardians to enter. The contestants were invited to all the top-notch functions in society. The pictures would be in the newspapers. They would be posted in the show windows of stores where folks would gather outside on the street and say, I want she, I like she, I like she have attitude, I like she. But that was the magic of the community that would surround the showcase and everybody backing their queen. That was the magic of it, The pictures would be in everything. Sponsors, very important people in those days. They would only sponsor specific girls who they think could win. You can't bring a girl for a sponsor in those days, They would have to choose their girl. Character of the girls was front and center in the choosing of a participant. The respect they had for Carnival Queens was quite astonishing. The Queen Show was the most exciting stage show of Carnival, and it was a show that brought in the most money. The only other show that was also a big draw was the parade of the costume bands, which was attended by families and was held on Carnival Monday. The Queen Show always sold out to capacity. It was always held on the Saturday night before Carnival. You had to reserve seats in the pavilion, and no one sat in your seat. Yes, no one. It was numbered, and no one sat in your seat. It was a dapper event. Everyone would be dressed to the nines. And some men wore their jacket and ties, and the ladies wore evening gowns to go to Carnival Queen Show. I know my mother wore one. I wanted to stop, of course, thank you. I won't accept, the pavilion was there, except the bleachers. So there was a pavilion, and then they had the bleachers where all the rowdies like me would want to go and sit. Because that's where you want to shout for your queen. We want so-and-so, we want so-and-so, right? But I wanted to stop my research when we got to independence. That era was very interesting to me, the colonial days. Things were very different back then. It's amazing, you know, how Carnival Queen shows in those days will give you a tiny insight of that time. Like, it's like listening to calypsos. They tell you what happened in those moments. I'm just giving you a taste here. I don't want to give away anything because you have to get the book. Right? I'll give you a taste, a little bit of here, inside here, and a little bit of inside there. So it's a coffee table book, or a cocoa tea book, as you call it. And it's photos. I have over close to 200 photos in it. As I said, it took me 6 years. It was a lot of work. I loved doing it. There's a certain contestant in here. I went to her house, and she came on and she said, I have a box, and she brought out like 8 albums, and I sat on the floor, and I went through every single one, and there was not one picture of her in it. He said, I don't know where those pictures are. So what I did, I used to get pictures, and I would cut them out and photo them, take them out of the group and put it there. So there are a lot of little pictures all over, you know. But there's so much magic in this. I really don't want to give away too much, you know. And like, for instance, like in 1963, when the first dark-skinned girl won the crown. And it was a big thing then, because before it was, you know, and there was nothing to do with racism. It was just how you saw beauty in those days. You know, it was a European look of beauty, you know. But they were friends. Everybody was still on the stage, connected, etc. But it was what it was, you know. And it was a time in our history that I think must never be forgotten. I have a Rasta friend. I showed him the book. He said, boy, there's Grenada. I said, yeah. He said, you couldn't believe it. And he was fascinated by it because it's a totally different world. And we must not lose track of that. The book is going to be a fun journey. So I just want us to, I didn't want to get too much into the book, you know, because you'll hear about it. And it's a kind of book that we can have a seminar later on, where we can have a, you know, bring all the women and discuss that period and the women in those days of what it was like going up for Carnival Queen. So I just give you a little taste of my dream, my passion, my love. I always believe you're stressed when you're doing something you don't love. But when you're doing something you love, it's called passion. And so, do I press? Okay. So, can I have the music? I'll just let the credits run, and then I will chat on it. Last history of the time. For instance, there was a Carnival Queen. She had to take her costume to the nuns, so the nuns can approve it. I think she's in here. National Lotteries Authority, Rennick & Thompson Company Limited, Grenada Distillers, Grenada Bottling Company Limited, CD Enterprises, 2003, George F. Huggins, Gren Graphics, Designs, and of course, family's always there for you. Yolan and Paul Keynes Douglas. Lost History of a Time, a classic, classy affair, 1945, 1974. In 1945, was Carnival Queen 94, the Iris Hughes Thompson, and in those days they were chosen. That's of Rennick & Thompson fame, and that's the first king and queen of Carnival. So there was not a pageant, they were chosen to do the honors at Carnival. This was a married couple, Iris Hughes Thompson and Ashley. And that's of Rennick & Thompson. And this is Erica Roberts and Roy Griffith. Unfortunately, I searched for 6 years, but I never found a photo of either one. 1947, Eleanor Salhab. Eleanor Lashley, we all know her. And her first prize was a silver chain. Imagine that. And there were four of them were on stage, and they were chosen by ballots. So they have people here that come on the stage, and you will choose who you like by a ballot. And her king was Paul Jones. And he was in the audience, according to Eleanor, because Eleanor passed away about 5 years ago, God rest her soul, but I had the opportunity to visit with her. And she told me she was on stage, and Paul was in the audience, and Paul said, I voted for you, I want to be your king. So Eleanor said, all right, you're my king. And that's how he became her king. This is in the car on their way to the park, Queen's Park. Carnival Queen Joy McIntyre Sherman of the Koyaba fame. You all know Koyaba Hotel. Her king was her fiancé. She chose her fiancé to be her king, Franklin Sherman, in 1948. The following year, in 1949, they were married. Esme Lumsden, Lady Scone, Paul Scone's wife. Yes, she was the Carnival Queen in 1949. And there used to be a barge that carried the queens across the harbor. You know where Ballast Ground used to be? Now it's Port Louis. And they'll put them on the barge, and they'll ride them across the harbor over to the other side of the harbor, and a cannon will go off at the fort. Yes, and they'll get into a convertible, and they would drive down to the. And her king was Robin Rennick, 1949. Marilla Betancourt, Valentini. She was originally from Venezuela, but lived in Grenada. And her king was Sandy Taylor. Yeah. Carnival Queen 1951, Sheila Cameron, Otway. Now, some years I only got one picture, some years I got about 10 pictures. So it's already curry favoring, okay? Yeah. Now, this is Otway's from gas station, David Otway's wife. This is Kathleen Bernadette, the Queen from St. John. Yay! St. John. And this was the last year that they chose kings. And her king was Beaumont Campbell. The following year, 1953, that's when they went into the JCs, kind of took off the Trinidad, the pageant, beauty pageant sort of thing, right? This is the only time two sisters enter the competition at the same time. I tried to get some gossip behind it, but they didn't say a word. And Margaret Roberts, who came first, and her sister, Faye, came second. Yeah. Catherine Burgess, she's still alive, but couldn't make it. Catherine Burgess, I want to give you an idea. I never found the names of the other contestants, but that's them on the truck, and it was such an elegant, it was so elegant, that the period. Now, there was no Queen show, nobody knows, but I know there was Carnival, because you were invited to dance at Queen's Park Pavilion on Tuesday night, March 2nd, 1994. Gents, $1, ladies, 72 cents. I don't know why. Right? Music by Seppi and his night horse. You have a good time, the promoter. But there was no Queen show, but there was a Carnival. Yeah. Okay. 1955, Pat Thompson. Again, her mother was the first Carnival Queen. Iris Hughes Thompson of Thompson and Rennick. That's Jeffrey Thompson's sister, Thompson and Rennick. And these are the contestants, Marjorie Morissette and Audrey Rodriguez. And I must Sorry? But that's not General Lynn. 1956, Joan Paris, right? Joan Paris. Oh, I see what you're saying. That's General Lynn's sister. Oh, okay, yes, that's right. Tradition. Now, the tradition in those days, always, The Queen was not complete without her crown, her cape, and scepter. That's what, always, right? But it's different today, yeah, right? That's Joan Paris. These are some contestants, and all in those days it was taking place at Empire Cinema. So what you're looking at there, all the shows were taking place at, took place at Empire Cinema. These are some of the contestants. Oh God, when I got these pictures, it was just heaven, you know? They're so rare. And this is them in the float. There's a big, big float that drove around town. And that's the famous Market Hill in the back. And you must remember when they were doing the convertibles, the queens used to drive up to the hospitals on Tuesdays, and they would get up and go visit the patients. They would drive around to the old folks' home. The old folks would get out and they'll wave. So they really participated in the community. It was, you know, and they took part in Carnival. So this is coming now, Market Hill. See how big the bands were? That's the 1960s. Incredible. I just say there's a show. Yes. Now this is very interesting. This is how it used to be Carnival in the town. And this is it today going around. So you used to come up from Melville Street, come along here, then you go up Granby Street, up Halifax, down by Tikal, coming down here, up Scott Street, up Lucas Street, down Market Hill, across Grenville, and back down. So this is where Carnival took place in those days. But the purple is where it is today. There's more in the book. I'm just giving you a taste. Wendy Lawrence, Carnival Queen, 1957. That's Mary Bain, Joy Leslie, Wendy Lawrence, Myrna Steele, Dawn Fletcher. I want to give these women the honors. I want to mention them. Yes, Dawn Fletcher. I never thought, Dawn would have been like Jessica Steele. Unfortunately, she's here in Grenada, but it's her birthday yesterday, and they're having a party for her, so she couldn't make it today. Yeah. She said Okay. Now this is them leaving the stage, and they're going to the coronation ball. There was always a coronation ball after every show, and when you go to, it was held in Richmond Hill Club, and they would be all seated in lovely chairs, and the girls would be in their evening gowns, and they were the celebrities of the evening, and all the gentlemen of the night they would want to dance with these girls. They couldn't wait to get a dance with one of the contestants. It was so magical. You know, there I go. Okay, I love it, man. I love it those days. You know, so. And ladies and gentlemen, this is Margaret Redhead Fletcher, 1959. Please take a bow. Stand up. Here, stand, Margaret. Here, stand up. Here she is, ladies and gentlemen. There she is. Cheers, Margaret. Blessings. Lovely. Now, in those days, this was a costume, sportswear. And Margaret told me that in those days, the gowns were always in muted colors. They were beige and pinks, and so no bright colors. But that night, Margaret decided she wanted to wear a red dress, bright red. Everybody said, no. But she said, yes. And she wore it, and she won. So it was a help. There she is, Margaret Fletcher, ladies and gentlemen. That's Faye Cameron, 1960. Marcel Hayward Ross, you all know Marcel Dennis Ross, Dodo, Kellyanne's mom. Yes, that's. First runner-up, second runner-up, that's my sister Vilma. Yeah, she was the second runner-up, 1960. This is Joy Protein, who is here. Joy, stand, take a bow, stand up. Stand. There she is. And Annette Steele. Now remember this year, 1960. Now this is an Empire Cinema, and that's how there was no throne. It was like the Olympics. So the queen would be at the top, the second and third. So that's what it was like. Okay, 1960. Margaret Nack, Lady St. Paul. Yes. Unfortunately, she couldn't come tonight. And this is, they used to be in cars. They used to drive around in convertible cars. That's, yeah, and they're all in their cars. This is Evelyn Joyce Bean. No, she's not here. Unfortunately, yeah. She had to travel. And this was the first prize was a car. The first time such an extravagant prize was given to a queen. A car. Right? Now, this was the second time, this was the second time Evelyn Joyce entered the competition. The time before was in 1959 when Margaret won. So Evelyn Joyce went back a second time. Now in those days, it was not a problem. It was quite okay for a queen to go up twice. So it was nothing looked down on. It was a fantastic thing if a queen wanted to go up a second time. Okay. Christine Ferguson, that's the Premier, Eric Gary, crowning her. And this is 1962, Joy Protein went up a second time. Take a bow again, Joy. First runner-up, became first runner-up. Yes, excellent. Joy, and that's her. So just gonna, that's her in 1960. And that's her in 1962. Leonie, Yvonne Macaulay St. John. Yes. Grace Duncan. That's them at pageant. Now in those days, sometimes the queens would be on the stage, but they're not in the pavilion, on the stage. So the bands would parade in front of them, and they'd be facing the Queen's Park Pavilion. So that's the administrator, Lloyd, greeting the queens on stage. There were 9 contestants that year. And again, it was not a parish thing. So 5 girls can be from St. George's, 5 can be from, St. John, so it was not. This was, let's cut all of this in the Market Square, the town hall. The queens used to go on pageant on Mondays, and they would greet the people. And there was a lot of excitement in the market. There was games, there were card games happening, the Moko Jumbies, and all that was happening in the market before they moved down to the pageant in the park. Now in 1999, 99% of the ads in the local newspapers in the 40s, 50s, and 60s were of white Caucasian characters and images when you open the newspaper. So I could not find, when I did my research, I could not find any image of a person of color in the newspapers except articles, pictures, So this is what we are seeing, and this is the one I love most. Doctor's Palmolive can bring you a lovelier complexion. Lovelier. But that's the beauty. That's what we thought of as beauty in those days, growing up, But the whole beauty, it's not. So, whoop. It's stuck. What's happening? Okay, great. And in 1963, the first dark-skinned girl won the competition. Florine Pope, 1963. Huh? Royce, yes. That was the late Royston Hopkins' first wife. Florine was the first dark skin. And I say dark skin because in those days we said dark skin. It was not black or white or this and that, that kind of stuff. So it's not, right? And it was quite a big thing for the country because it's never happened before, right? So people still talk about, remember the night Florine won? Yes. But what I love about, I don't know if you can see it, it's just the glamour and the elegance. I just love. That's Pat Reddit again. She went up twice as well. That's Gillian Palmer Thompson. Patsy Ferguson Macklin, 1963. And she's here. Please stand. Where she is? Stand, there she is. Stand, wait, there she. Patsy told me they actually had to push her on the stage. She was so nervous. There she is, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful. And that's all the contestants at pageant. They always came onto the stage, made an appearance. They were driven on. And this is Flowing Hope with the contestants again. That's Pat. That's Noala Brown Menes of Georgia Huggins, Patsy, and that's Jillian in the back there. And they drove around the town, and people used to look out for these girls. They couldn't wait. Shouts and screams, everybody looking out their windows. You know, the queens are coming, the queens are coming. Especially people who couldn't go to the park to see them. Christine Hughes, Mahabin. Yeah, that's Alistair Hughes' daughter, yes. And this is Pat. This is when she went up in 64, and she also went up in 1963. So the following year, she decided she wanted to go back. And both times she came second, first runner-up. So this is just a taste of the thing. Jenilyn Morissette, Patterson, second runner-up. Jenilyn, yeah, the first time a Queen contestant did a talent. Jenilyn sang Sunny Side of the Street. I remember that night so well. Her costume was a top hat and cane, as you can see. And ladies and gentlemen, Jenilyn Morissette is right here. Stand up, Jenilyn. Stand. Take a bow. There she is, ladies and gentlemen. And she was the one who had to bring her costume to the nuns so they could approve it. Because she was a staff, she was working. She was teaching in the convent. So she had to, yeah. And these are the contestants. That's, yeah, the other contestants. And this is Yule and Arthur. She was supposed to be here, but she couldn't make it tonight. Yeah. Yeah. That's her in her costume, Fire on Ice. I always remember that. I went to all these Queen shows, and my first Queen show was in 1960 when I was 7 years old, when my sister went up. So I've been going to Queen shows since 1960. That's why I love that part of life, you know. This is Angela Redhead Bishop. That's Margaret's sister. That was the wife of the late Maurice Bishop. Yes, she was the first runner-up, Angela Redhead Bishop. Merle Campbell, 1965. This is Ian Turbot, administrator at the time, crowning Merle. And what happens is that the Queens on the year before always kept the dress they won in. They never changed it. They kept it to pass the crown on to the other queen. It was a tradition. They kept their dress. It was never, well, that's up to them. But so they know they had to wear the dress. It was just a wonderful tradition, you know, to have. So the year before they can see, that's them at Queen's Park pageant. Now this is when they moved the queens into the pavilion. And there were two dignitary boxes, one for the prime minister, the premiers and stuff, and there was always one for the queens. And they were just revered. People used to come and the little children would wave at them and stuff. They were just... Okay, 1966, the JCs took over the running of Carnival. I just want to mention this. Each contestant will pay an entrance fee of $1 to enter the competition. $1. Blondell. Yeah. Elizabeth Rodriguez. Island in the Sun. That's her evening gown. 1966. Jean Ferguson. So to see the queens, the costumes started getting bigger now as the time went by. You notice that, huh? They'll be coming in. That's Wendy Woodruff, second runner-up. Wendy holds a record to date. No one has ever worn her glasses as a queen. So I gave her special mention there. She said, I said, why you wear your glasses? I want to enjoy Carnival and I can't see, so I'm wearing my glasses. So I gave her special mention for that. Vanity was not important. That's, yes, Zonia, she lives in Canada. She gave me lots of wonderful information. The most frightening moment, waiting for the results, standing there waiting for the results. There, Betty won that year. You see, Yolande kept her dress to pass the crown on. There's always a lovely tradition. That's Turbot crowning Betty. That's them on the truck to go around. Okay, this I love to read. This is the Lions Club took over Carnival. This is a message from Mr. Rupert Bishop, chairman of the safety committee. As the traffic is voluminous, what is it? Voluminous? I'm going to put my glasses. It has become perilous, making it the duty of the community to protect its general safety. If drive you must, then this Carnival season, be sure to drive with care and reason. And since Carnival is here to stay, do not abuse it in any way. So let Carnival safety measures bring Carnival pleasures. A happy, safe Carnival to all. Isn't that lovely? It's not a boring little poem. That's the father of Maurice Bishop, Rupert Bishop. I love that. So all these little gems, you know, are in the book. Calypso King Steel Band combo competition will be here Tuesday. Look at the price. Admission $1.50. Bleachers $1. Queen Show $4. 1968 it went up to 5. 69 it went up to 6. Calypso King, the prizes. Calypso King prize $100 and a crown. First runner-up $50. Third prize $20. Steel band contest. Entrance fee is $12. First prize $200. Imagine that. Second prize $100. Third prize $20. And they used to have a competition called the combo competition. That was the bands, electrical bands. And all that's gone again, you know, all that's disappeared. Oh, and also there was a first prize of $25. That was the first, the road march. So you see road marches were going since 1967. But you only got the prize if it was played by a steel band, not DJ. That's the only thing. And I love that, and I think we should bring that back. You know, this one, Carnival Queen 1967, Frances McIntyre. Ladies and gentlemen, Frances McIntyre, Donald. Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So, okay. So that's them. Oh, yes, sorry. What? Oh, no, yeah, this time Jennifer Houston entered. Yeah, she came second that year in Carnival Queen, the connection. This is Gail Rennick in her costume, evening wear, because now we have to. First runner-up. There's a lot to talk about. That's why I said we have to have a special evening. That's my dad. He was the chairman of Carnival, as I said, for over 1969. Sandra Monroe, and she's right here. Ladies and gentlemen, stand, please stand. That's her costume. These were the first and second runner-up. Eleanor Daythorne Fleming, you all remember her? Yeah, Eleanor just died. Mary Smith. Yeah. That's the crowning of the... Okay. So that's me, 15 years old. Okay. And now in 1970, Mary Lockley, that was the Black Power days when Black Power came in, and her theme was Africa, and she was one of the first girls who went up with her natural afro, and that's her. Yeah. That year, 10 queens went up. Miss World 1970 to 71 was Noreen Dillion. She also entered the leg for Miss World Grenada, and she came second, and Jennifer came first. The next year she entered Carnival Queen, and she won the crown. And then, that's her. And that's Barbara and Shillingford, and we're coming to the end. Barbara and Shillingford entered. The last, 1972, Joan Campbell. And in that's the chairman. And there was no competition in 1973 and 74 because that's when all the politics and stuff happened. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have to move on. I want to thank you. Thank you very much. Gave you a little taste. Just quickly. Yes. 60 more seconds. I know we're going to move in quickly. Just quickly, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Benoit, I'd like you to come up here, please. Yes. I want to thank my sponsors, but you all tell me, without sponsors, I could not have done this. I went to so many sponsors, and they turned me down because they did not see the concept of it. And people like Rennick and Tom, well, I don't want to, they're all here, I didn't mention them. They all came on board. The moment I said it, they knew what it was all about, and the magic and the preservation. And thank you, my sponsors. Chrissy will thank you, okay? This is for you. I want to gift everything. The exhibition, my work, my research, on behalf of my family, my dad and myself. I'd like to gift all the photos I've worked, my work, passion, everything, to the Grenada National Museum.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
So it's all yours now.
Thank you.
I pass it on to you for the future generations.
Thank you.
God bless you all. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think you stole my protocol list. Grenada is certainly blessed to have Mr. Richardo Keynes Douglas. We are blessed to have you, and such a fantastic donation to the Grenada National Museum. Let's hear it for Richardo Keynes Douglas. And now we present special books to special people. So I invite our reigning Carnival queen, Sachel Alves, to assist Mr. Richardo Keynes Douglas in distributing these books. So choose your background. Yeah?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay. And the first person, yeah, let me turn off the. And while we're arranging ourselves technically, let's also recognize the presence of Ambassador Kennedy Roberts. He is the representative for the responsibility for the UN Ambassador Sustainable Development Goals, right, with the United Nations. All right, and we're ready. Let's invite our first person, most esteemed person in Grenada. Her Excellency Dame Cecile Lagrenade, our Governor General. Next, we invite our Minister for Tourism, the Creative Economy and Culture, Senator the Honorable Adrian Thomas. Next, representing the Grenada National Museum, Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Tia Cummings. We now invite our sponsors as well. I will call you one by one. And we recognize Renwick and Thompson through the people of Jeffrey Thompson, Chairman and Managing Director Andrew Bazinski. However, they are not here with us tonight, so let's just give them a round of applause and thank them for their contributions. National Lotteries Authority, representing them tonight is Miss Reese Sam. The Grenada Distillers Limited, Mr. and Mrs. Leroy Neckles, Managing Directors. If we have any representative from the Grenada Distillers Limited. All right, let's just recognize them. Thank them for their contribution. The Grenada Bottling Company. Okay. George F. Huggins Company Limited. I believe there is a representative from George F. Huggins with us. Okay, she slipped away. And we thank them for their contribution. Ms. Anya Cho Chung, Managing Director. CD Enterprises 2003 Corporation. Mr. Clive Devers, Managing Director. Gren Graphics Designs Limited, Mr. Samir Carasquel, Managing Director. Okay, let's give him a round of applause. Mr. David Ambrose.
I want to say something very special about David. David is the one who helped me with this book. I could not have done it without David. Every Saturday we come, it was self-published. So he came and he showed me how to do it on Amazon and this for months. So thank you, David. I really, really thank you. This would not have been done without David. Trust me. Thank you, my friend.
So we're up to the time. The book is on Amazon.
Oh, yes, it's on Amazon.
Lovely. We're gone global. And finally, Yoland and Paul Keynes Douglas.
Bring my brother up, Melvin. I know he's shy.
So he
like family, trust me. Family, and there's a lot of laughter, work with a lot of laughter and storytelling. I had to sit at the table every night and have dinner, no matter friends outside going, wait. Daddy said, no way. So I want to bring that. I wish we could bring that family thing more together. We sit and play games and chat and tell stories. Hey, brother.
Thank you so much. Let's hear it for all the sponsors. Thank you so much, Sachel Alves, reigning Carnival Queen. Thank you, Mr. Richardo Keynes Douglas. Now, it's not just a book launching tonight, we're also unveiling an exhibition. So to tell us all about it is the curator, archaeologist, and educator, as well as entrepreneur, curator based right here at the Grenada National Museum, Miss Lorna Dale Charles. I'll invite Mr. Keynes Douglas just to make a brief mention. No problem.
It's really important because I know the extra 2 minutes won't make a difference. Please, just bear with me. Honestly, I know Lorna doesn't have this. The people I really want to thank, quickly, Claudia Halley, my editor. Please stand. Edited my book for me. I know we're moving into the second part. My dear friend Wendy Crawford, together, please. Dr. Benoit, Shauna Bertrand, Shauna worked my right hand. Please, thank you, working on this project. Lorna, work with Lorna is incredible. The museum has gained an incredible curator. Thank you. Dr. Benoit, thank you so much. I could not have done this without you, because you saw my vision and you made this happen for me. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. The construction guy, Fabian Greenwich. Thank you, Fabian. Late nights, 9 o'clock, we're working inside there. The security, Brian, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that these people get mentioned. Please, I want to thank you all. God bless.
Thank you so much. So important to recognize the people who have assisted us. So without further ado, the curator of the Grenada National Museum, Lorna Dale Charles.
Hello, beautiful people. His Excellency, Dame Cecilia Lagrenade, Governor General, Senator the Honorable Adrian Thomas, Minister of Tourism, Creative Economy and Culture, Senator the Right Honorable Claudette Joseph, Minister of Legal Affairs, Labor and Consumer Affairs, Honorable Peter David, MP for the Town of St. George, Her Excellency Ambassador Yvette Martinez, Ambassador from Cuba, Ambassador Terence Forrester, Dr. Oliver Benoit, Chairman of the Grenada National Museum, other members of the Grenada National Museum, board, former Carnival Queens and participants, the reigning National Carnival Queen 2024 of Grenada, Sasha Els, sponsors, specially invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends who are viewing us online, persons in the diaspora, welcome. Now, as I do my statement, forgive me, I'm a bit tired. It's been a long year for the last 3 months. So at the Grenada's National Museum, this vibrant costumes, rhythmic steel pan, and other festive spirit is a celebration of culture and community. But beyond the surface of pageantry lies a deeper narrative, one that reflects the societal structures, aspirations, and struggles of a nation in transformation. Behind the crowned Grenada Carnival's Queens 1945-1964, we invite you to examine a pivotal period in Grenada's history where issues, and it's not mentioned here, where issues of colorism, class, and status played pivotal roles in shaping our identities, because we have multiple identities. Now, if not for the tireless work of Mr. Richardo Keynes Douglas, what we're about to view or review tonight would not have happened. I have been a fan of Carnival Queen shows from the time I was knee high. This is the first time I'm experiencing this in a different light. So during the period between 1945 and 1954, Carnival Queen competitions were influenced by societal norms rooted in colonial hierarchies. These shows often mirrored British royalties, and there was not, as Mr. King Douglas would have mentioned, there was the coronation ball, the sceptre, the crown, the cape, the whole 9 yards. No, we don't see this now, and those are standards of Eurocentric ideas. The good here that we have, as he mentioned, these events reinforce class and status, yet they also become spaces where Grenadian women could assert their individual identities and ambition. As we reflect, the Queen Show served both as a reflection and a catalyst for social transformation. The post-World War II era, the fight for independence, the evolving roles of women in Grenada were mirrored in these competitions. The significance of this period, as you would have heard tonight, is when Florine Hope won in 1963, the first dark-skinned woman to win the title of Carnival Queen. Her victory challenged entrenched biases and represented a milestone in Grenada's journey towards greater inclusivity and national pride. Richardo King Douglas' unwavering commitment to preserving this history has made it possible for all of us to witness the story behind the crown. His work not only safeguards these memories for future generations, but also prompts us to reflect on how societal definition of class, beauty, and status has evolved, and how they continue to shape our cultural practices. The photos and story represented here or presented here tonight offer a powerful reminder of the resilience of Grenadian women and the ongoing journey towards self-expression and equality. As you walk through the exhibition tonight, I encourage you to think about these competitions representing the space and time and what it signifies now. What does it mean for a society to define beauty and the status in which it would have happened in such restrictive ways? How do these stories inform our understanding of Grenada's carnival traditions today? This exhibition is not just about the past, but the ongoing conversation all of us need to have about culture, heritage, identity, and inclusivity. As I wrap up this evening, I want to extend a profound thank you to my assistant, Shauna Bertrand. Without you, as Mr. Kingston indicated, we could not have done that. To Fabian Greenwich, to your family, I want to say thank you. Fabian is at the back. He is the contractor, the mastermind who would have transformed the exhibition space. And those of you who would have visited the museum would see that new transformation. Fabian was here day and night, every day, Sunday to Sunday. We have not left the museum before midnight in putting up this exhibition. Fabian, I thank you, I thank you, I thank you. To the other staff at the Grenada National Museum, thank you. Dr. Benoit, thank you for all the advice you would have given and the constructive criticisms. It is appreciated. Together, as we view this exhibition, I want us to honor the legacies of Grenada's Carnival Queens and ensure their stories remain an enduring part of our cultural heritage, and we would inspire future generations to come. I thank you.
Thank you, Lorna Dale, and we will all get to see the exhibition this evening. I know you're excited for that. Before we do this, I must invite the chairman of the Grenada National Museum to offer some brief remarks on this occasion. Let's welcome Dr. Oliver Benoit.
Good evening, everybody. I would like to break the tradition this evening, so I stand by the protocol as already established. I also would be unscripted. So what I have to say is, I believe it's very important, but I want to make an important point. Picking up from Risi's presentation, she spoke about the problem of documentation and of our heritage. I want to make the point that years ago, and I'm glad in front of me here is Honorable Peter David. We were in London at the same time where we were studying, and I guess we knew one of our colleague, Dick Hart, who used to be the Attorney General in Grenada. We were doing research at the same time in London, and we always had discussions and conversation about Grenada. Grenada, in my mind, is not just a place, but a concept that is very important to me, and I think to a lot of us who are here this evening. And one of the things that we recognize is when I left London to come to Grenada to do research, there were problems finding information. But every single piece of information or research that I've done, I relied on Kew Gardens, where all of Grenada information lies. And I am at pain to think, at this point in our history, we don't have a library, we don't have a National Art Gallery, and we have the museum, but we are working on that to establish it in a way that it would be a museum of international standards. I don't know if I've spoke many times to Honorable Peter David about the Tongue of St. George's. I guess he's still the MP for the Tongue of St. George's, right? But I am sad to see that my good friend had lived in the Tongue of St. George's without a library. I used to be with you in the library, sitting there, and I don't know why we still don't have the library. But I can see, I want to think of the library and the museum and art gallery as a central part of culture and heritage. And I want, and the important point I want to make here this evening is that I want to make sure that this museum can see a different light going forward. I want to bring it to international standards. And this will take the effort of the audience, it will take the effort of the government and the support to do the work that needs to be done to bring it up to some international standards. I could say that recently we've begun discussion with Cuba. Hopefully, as soon as we can sign agreements, we will be able to seek their assistance in helping us with the infrastructure that is needed and also the curatorial and museum management activities at this museum. This is something I want to see through, and I hope that I can work with everyone to make this happen. And in fact, we only recently developed a strategic plan, and in the process of outlining that strategic plan, there are a number of things that we'd like to see done in the next 2 years. And I'm hoping to get your assistance, your support in making this happen. So what you see here this evening is just a beginning. And hopefully in the next year or two, you're going to see a lot more happening here. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Benoit. We are going to move into unveiling the exhibition and officially cutting the ribbon. But let me first say thank you to all our sponsors who made this book signing, the exhibition, as well as the production of the book possible. The National Lotteries Authority, the Grenada Trade Center, North South Wines, Grenada Distillers Limited, CD Enterprises Corporation, the Spice Mass Corporation, Grenada Bottling Company, Osprey Lines Limited, City Inn, George F. Huggins Company Limited, Renwick and Thompson Company Limited, the Grenada Cooperative Bank, Nawasa, Gren Graphics Design Limited, Blue Bubbles, Republic Bank, and Yoland and Paul Keynes Douglas. Let's hear it for all our sponsors. At this time, we invite our Governor General, Her Excellency Dame Cecile Lagrenade, to do the official ribbon cutting for the exhibition Behind the Crown by Richardo Keynes Douglas and the Grenada National Museum. So there's even a little pomp and flair with opening the door to the exhibition, it seems. For those of you joining us live, we are here at the official opening book launch for Lost History of a Time, Grenada Carnival Queens, 1945 to 1974. And now we are officially opening the exhibition Behind the Crown. Thank you so much for joining us. So just wait a few minutes and you will be escorted into the exhibition room when that time comes, all right? Thank you so much.
No, she's in Montreal. Oh, yeah, she's in New York. Yeah. Yeah, the lot of work. She comes back and she brings it. Read it, you know.
Thank